Hello, I am Luna, and welcome to Stories for Sleepless Nights. Here, we explore fascinating tales from history, mythology, nature, biographies, philosophy, and many other topics. Our goal is to help you unwind, relax, and gently drift off to sleep. If you have a story idea you would like us to cover, please share it in the comments. Remember to follow us on Spotify and YouTube to catch all our stories. Tonight, we journey into a world of ancient legends. We will uncover the captivating and tragic myth of the Minotaur and the Labyrinth. This is a tale filled with powerful gods, terrifying monsters, brave heroes, and the heavy cost of pride. It is a story whispered through centuries, reminding us of the consequences of human ambition and divine wrath. Before we begin our story, let us take a moment to prepare for rest. Find a comfortable position, whether you are lying down or sitting. Gently close your eyes if you feel safe doing so. Take a deep breath in through your nose, feeling your chest rise. Hold it for a moment. Then, slowly let it out through your mouth, releasing any tension you might be holding. Take another deep breath, filling your lungs completely. And breathe out, letting go of the day's worries and thoughts. Feel your body grow heavy and relaxed. Allow yourself to settle into this peaceful moment. As you breathe, imagine a gentle wave washing over you, carrying away any stress. Just listen to the sound of my voice as we begin our story. Our story tonight takes us to the ancient island of Crete. There lived a powerful king named Minos. He was a very influential ruler, known throughout the lands. His wife was Queen Pasiphae. King Minos wanted to show everyone that the gods favored his rule. He wanted a sign, something grand and undeniable. So he prayed to Poseidon, the mighty god of the sea. Minos asked Poseidon to send him a magnificent bull, which he promised to sacrifice in the god's honor. This act would prove his divine right to be king. Poseidon answered King Minos's prayer. From the foamy waves of the sea, a bull emerged. It was a creature of incredible beauty, pure white, with powerful muscles and horns that gleamed in the sun. This bull was so stunning, so perfect, that it captured the gaze of everyone who saw it. King Minos looked at the bull. He was filled with awe, but also with a terrible pride. He thought the bull was too beautiful to kill, too grand to be offered as a sacrifice. In a moment of great arrogance, he decided to keep the magnificent white bull for himself. Instead, he sacrificed a lesser bull, one from his own herds, hoping Poseidon would not notice the switch. This act was a grave insult to the god of the sea. Poseidon was furious that Minos had dared to defy him and keep his divine gift. The god decided to punish King Minos in a truly terrible way. He cast a dark spell upon Queen Pasiphae, Minos's wife. This curse caused her to fall deeply and unnaturally in love with the white bull. Her mind became clouded, and she could think of nothing else. From this strange and terrible union, a horrifying creature was born. Queen Pasiphae gave birth to a monster unlike any seen before. It had the strong body of a man, but the fearsome head of a bull. This creature was called the Minotaur, which simply means Minos's bull. King Minos was filled with shame and horror when he saw his monstrous stepson. He knew he had to keep this terrible secret hidden from the world. The existence of the Minotaur was a constant reminder of his hubris, his great pride, and the wrath of a god. He needed a way to conceal this beast, a place where it could be kept forever, out of sight. King Minos, still filled with shame and the need to hide the terrible Minotaur, sought out the most brilliant mind he knew. This was Daedalus, a man of incredible talent from Athens. Daedalus was a celebrated inventor, a master craftsman, and a gifted architect. No one could match his cleverness or his skill in building. However, Daedalus was not living in his home city of Athens. He had been forced to leave after a very sad event. Daedalus had a nephew named Talos, who was also very bright and skilled. Daedalus, in a moment of great jealousy, pushed Talos from a high cliff. For this dreadful act, Daedalus was banished from Athens. He found refuge on the island of Crete, under the rule of King Minos. King Minos knew that Daedalus was the only person who could help him. He called upon the exiled genius and gave him a secret and difficult task. Minos commanded Daedalus to build an inescapable prison for the Minotaur. This prison had to be so complex, so confusing, that the monster, and any who dared to enter, would be trapped forever. It had to be a place where the Minotaur's existence could be hidden from the world. Daedalus accepted the challenge. He began to design a structure that would become one of the most famous marvels of the ancient world, the labyrinth. It was not a simple building with many rooms. It was an enormous maze, far more intricate than any other. The labyrinth had countless winding passages that twisted and turned in every direction. There were many dead ends, paths that led nowhere, forcing anyone inside to turn back. The design was meant to disorient and confuse. A person inside would quickly lose all sense of direction, unable to tell how they had come in or how to find their way out. The walls were tall, perhaps 15 to 20 feet high, made of strong stone. The pathways were narrow, sometimes only 3 or 4 feet wide, adding to the feeling of being trapped. The labyrinth was more than just a prison. It stood as a powerful symbol of King Minos's authority. It showed his control over his kingdom and his desperate effort to hide his monstrous secret. It was a monument to his power and his will to manage even the most uncontrollable things. Daedalus was known for many other remarkable inventions. He was said to have created the saw and the axe, tools that made building much easier. He also crafted moving statues that seemed almost alive. He even built a special dance floor for Ariadne, King Minos's own daughter. His reputation as a master craftsman was truly unmatched. Yet, despite all his genius, Daedalus's life was also marked by personal sorrow and a destiny that would later lead to its own tragic tale. The labyrinth stood as a testament to Daedalus's genius and Minos's dark secret. But the monstrous creature within it would soon demand a terrible price, not from Crete, but from the city of Athens. The conflict between Athens and Crete began with a tragic event involving King Minos's son, Androgeus. Androgeus was a strong and skilled young man. He traveled to Athens to take part in their athletic games. He was incredibly successful, winning every contest he entered. This success, however, led to trouble. Some Athenians grew jealous of his victories. In a sad turn of events, Androgeus was killed in Athens. Some stories say he was ambushed by jealous rivals. Others say he was sent on a dangerous hunt for a bull by the Athenian king, which led to his death. When King Minos heard of his son's death, he was filled with immense rage. He blamed Athens for the loss of his beloved son. Minos, a powerful ruler, decided to seek revenge. he gathered his mighty fleet and army and launched a devastating war against Athens. The Athenians were not as strong as the Cretans at this time. They suffered a crushing defeat. As a condition for peace, King Minos imposed a cruel and unbearable tribute upon Athens. This was not a payment of gold or riches. Every 9 years, Athens was forced to send 14 of its young people to Crete. This group consisted of 7 young Athenian men and 7 young Athenian women. The purpose of this tribute was truly horrific. These young Athenians were not sent to Crete to work or to live. They were destined to be offerings to the Minotaur. They were led into the confusing depths of the labyrinth, where they would wander until they became lost and were found by the beast. This was Minos's way of appeasing his anger and feeding the creature he kept hidden. A profound sorrow settled over Athens each time the tribute was due. The city was gripped by despair. Families wept as the names of the young men and women were chosen, often by drawing lots. The youths selected knew their terrible fate. They would be put on a ship, sailing to a foreign land where they faced certain death in the belly of a monster. The entire city lived under a dark cloud of fear and helplessness. This horrific tribute cast a long shadow over Athenian society. The people desperately longed for a hero, someone brave enough to end their suffering and free them from Minos's cruel demand. Amidst this heavy sadness that gripped Athens, a hero arrived in the city. His name was Theseus. He was the son of King Aegeus, the ruler of Athens. Some stories also said that the sea god Poseidon was his father. Theseus had already proven himself to be a mighty and brave young man. On his journey to Athens, he had faced many dangers. He cleared the roads of robbers and monsters, making the land safe for travelers. His fame had spread throughout the region because of these heroic deeds. When Theseus finally arrived in Athens, he saw the deep sorrow on the faces of the people. He quickly learned of the terrible tribute to Crete. He heard about the 7 young men and 7 young women who were soon to be sent to the Minotaur. The thought of these innocent youths being sacrificed filled him with anger and a strong desire to act. Theseus could not stand by and watch his people suffer. he made a courageous decision. He would volunteer to be one of the 14 youths. He would go to Crete and face the Minotaur himself. His father, King Aegeus, was heartbroken when he heard this. He begged Theseus not to go. He feared losing his brave son to the monster in the labyrinth. But Theseus was firm in his decision. He felt it was his duty to protect his people. As Theseus prepared to leave, he made a solemn promise to his father. The ship that carried the tribute youths always sailed with black sails. These black sails were a sign of mourning and despair. Theseus told his father that if he succeeded in defeating the Minotaur and returning home, he would change the sails to white. White sails would be a clear sign of victory and hope. If the sails remained black, it would mean he had failed, or worse. Theseus was filled with a powerful determination. He believed he could defeat the monstrous Minotaur. He believed he could break Crete's tyrannical hold over Athens and end the terrible tribute forever. He stood as a beacon of hope for his city, ready to face the deadliest challenge of his life. The ship with the black sails carried Theseus and the other Athenian youths across the wide sea. After many days, they finally reached the shores of Crete. The island was a place of great power, but for the Athenians, it was also a place of dread. Guards led the 14 young people from the ship. They were brought before King Minos, who sat on his grand throne, looking stern and unyielding. Among the people watching was Ariadne, King Minos's own daughter. She had often heard about the tribute from Athens, but seeing the young captives in person was different. Her eyes moved over the group, full of a mix of pity and fear for their fate. Then her gaze rested on Theseus. He stood taller than the others, his head held high, showing courage even in such a terrible situation. Ariadne was immediately drawn to his noble spirit and brave look. A deep admiration for him quickly grew into love in her heart. Ariadne found herself in a difficult place. Her father, King Minos, was a fearsome ruler, and her loyalty should have been to him and to her home, Crete. But the thought of Theseus, or any of these young people, being sent into the labyrinth to face the Minotaur filled her with deep horror. She knew the beast was her own half-brother, a dark family secret, but that did not make his hunger any less real. Her love for Theseus, a captive from a land that was an enemy, began to outweigh her duty to her father. She could not bear the thought of him dying in the twisting maze. Her heart made a decision. She would help Theseus, even if it meant going against her own father. Ariadne knew the labyrinth well, having heard its secrets from Daedalus, its brilliant builder. She found a way to meet Theseus in secret, perhaps in the quiet hours of night, or in a hidden corner of the palace, away from any watchful eyes. She approached him, her voice soft, her eyes full of worry and hope. Ariadne offered Theseus her aid. She gave him two very important gifts. The first was a long ball of thread. This was a special thread, perhaps even magical, and its purpose was clear: to guide him. The second gift was a sharp sword. This was a strong weapon, meant to help him fight the Minotaur, a beast known for its great strength and tough hide. She carefully explained to Theseus how to use these items. Ariadne told Theseus his plan. He was to tie one end of the thread to the entrance of the labyrinth. As he walked deeper into the confusing maze, he would slowly let the ball of thread unwind, leaving a trail behind him. This thread would be his map. After he found the Minotaur, and if he was successful, defeated it, he would simply follow the thread back out. This way, he would not get lost in the endless turns. Both Ariadne and Theseus understood the great dangers they were facing. Ariadne risked her father's terrible anger if he found out, and Theseus faced a monstrous beast and the very real chance of death. Still, they both moved forward with their dangerous, secret alliance. The day came when Theseus and the other Athenian youths were led towards the labyrinth. The entrance was a dark, gaping mouth carved into the stone of a hill. A heavy cloud of fear hung over the group. The guards pushed them forward. The other young people looked pale and trembled, their hearts pounding in their chests. Theseus, however, showed no fear. He walked to the entrance, his hand already holding the magical thread Ariadne had given him. He tied one end of the thread tightly to a rough stone near the opening. Then he took the first step into the deep darkness. His companions, still trembling, followed him, their only hope resting on his brave steps. Inside, the labyrinth was a confusing maze of winding paths. High stone walls rose on both sides, blocking out almost all light. Each turn looked exactly like the last, designed to trick the mind. A deep silence filled the air, broken only by the soft sounds of their footsteps. As they went deeper, the air grew colder and heavier. The feeling of being completely lost grew stronger with every new turn. Theseus kept letting the thread unwind from the ball, making sure their path was clearly marked behind them. The tension built with every breath, for they knew what waited for them in the heart of the maze. After what felt like a very long time, the twisting passages opened into a larger, darker chamber. A low growl echoed through the space. The smell of wild beast and damp earth filled the air. There, in the dim light, was the Minotaur. It was a huge creature, with the strong body of a man and the fearsome head of a bull. It lay still, perhaps sleeping, or perhaps just waiting. Its dark eyes seemed to hold an ancient hunger. Theseus wasted no time. He pulled out the sharp sword Ariadne had given him. The Minotaur roared, a terrifying sound that made the very walls shake. It charged at Theseus, its great, pointed horns ready to strike. Theseus moved quickly and with skill, dodging the monster's powerful attacks. The battle was fierce. The Minotaur swung its massive head and slammed its heavy hooves. Theseus used his speed and the keen edge of the sword, striking at the beast's tough hide. He fought bravely, his mind fixed on ending the terrible tribute forever. With a final, strong thrust, Theseus plunged the sword deep into the Minotaur. The great beast let out one last, terrible bellow that shook the chamber. Then it fell to the ground with a heavy thud. Silence returned, a different kind of silence this time, a silence of victory. The monster was dead. Theseus turned to his companions. Their faces showed shock. Then a wave of immense relief washed over them. He gathered them, and together they began to follow the guiding thread. Step by step, they walked back through the twisting paths. The thread led them surely, until they saw the bright light of day once more. They had escaped the labyrinth. The terrible tribute was finally over. Now, as our story comes to a close for tonight, let us take a moment to gently bring our awareness back to ourselves. We will do a short, peaceful body scan. There is nothing for you to do, but listen and allow your body to relax. Begin by noticing your feet. Feel the weight of your feet resting on the surface beneath them. Notice your toes, your heels, and the soles of your feet. Just feel them. Now, let that feeling of calm spread up into your ankles and your calves. Feel them grow heavy and soft. Let your awareness move further up into your knees and your thighs. Feel the muscles in your legs becoming loose and relaxed. Allow any tension to melt away from your hips and your lower back. Feel your body sinking a little deeper into whatever you are resting on. Bring your attention to your stomach and your chest. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Feel the ease in your breathing. Let your shoulders drop down, away from your ears. Feel your arms and hands becoming heavy and warm. Your fingers can just rest softly. Finally, bring your awareness to your neck and your head. Feel your jaw relax. Let your tongue rest gently in your mouth. Feel the muscles around your eyes soften. Your whole body is now heavy, peaceful, and completely at ease. I hope you enjoyed this journey into the myth of the Minotaur and the labyrinth. My wish is that this story has helped you to relax, to let go of your thoughts, and to prepare for a deep and peaceful sleep. You can find stories for sleepless nights on Spotify and YouTube. If there is a particular story or topic you would like to hear about in a future episode, please feel free to share it in the comments. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am Luna, and I hope to join you again very soon. Until then, I wish you a very good night.